My husband fell in love with my gay best friend. I never saw it coming. One night, my husband's phone lit up and I saw a message preview from my best friend that said, "I can't be your escape." I didn't yell. I didn't confront anyone in the moment. I stayed quiet, opened a folder called Receipts, and waited, because I suddenly realized I wasn't watching a friendship grow. I was watching a line get crossed. My name is Rachel. I'm 33, and I live in Chicago. My best friend Marcus and I met in college. He's the person who can call me out without humiliating me, and he's also the person who shows up with soup when I'm sick without acting like he deserves a medal. Marcus is openly gay. He has been for as long as I've known him, and he's never been my fun friend or my shopping friend. He's my real friend, the kind you keep. My husband Adam is 35. We'd been married 5 years when this story happened, and before everything cracked, I would have described our marriage as stable. Not perfect, not fairy tale, but stable. Adam is the kind of man who wants to be liked. He doesn't flirt in a gross way, but he tries to win people over. When he's insecure, he becomes extra helpful, extra agreeable, extra present. I didn't see that as a red flag for a long time. I thought it meant he cared. The first time Adam met Marcus, it was at my birthday dinner. Marcus brought me a small gift and a card with an inside joke. Adam shook his hand and said, "I've heard about you for years." Marcus smiled and said, "All good things, I hope." Adam laughed. Mostly. It felt normal. Then, slowly, Adam started pulling Marcus into our life more than I did. It started with group stuff, game nights, brunch, a concert where Marcus had an extra ticket, normal adult friend overlap. Then, it became one-on-one. Marcus and I grabbed coffee, Adam would say casually. Or, Marcus and I talked about work stuff. Work stuff was vague because Marcus works in a creative field, and Adam works in operations. They didn't overlap. If you were me, would you ask questions right away? I didn't. Because I liked the idea of my husband getting along with my best friend. It felt like a green flag. Then Adam had a rough patch at work. He lost a promotion he expected. He started coming home later, irritated, restless. And he'd say things like, "I feel stuck," or, "I don't know who I am outside of work." One night after dinner, Adam said, "I talked to Marcus. He gets it." I said, "That's good." Adam nodded. He's calming. He listens. That word, calming, stayed in my head. Because Adam had never described me as calming. He described me as strong, driven, intense. Intense. Another word that sounds like a compliment until you realize it's also a way of saying, "You're too much." Then came the first small moment I couldn't ignore. We were at Marcus's apartment for a movie night. There were 3 of us, plus Marcus's roommate who left early. Marcus went to the kitchen to get drinks. Adam stood behind him, too close, reading the label on a bottle like he needed to be within inches. Marcus shifted away subtly. Not dramatically, just a small body move. Then Marcus looked at me, for half a second, like he wanted to say something but didn't. I ignored it. Not because I didn't notice. Because I didn't want to believe my husband could be crossing any line. After the movie, on the way home, Adam said, "Marcus is lonely." I blinked. Is he? He seems fine. Adam sighed. He doesn't have what we have. That sentence made my stomach tighten, because it wasn't sympathy. It was comparison. And comparison is where entitlement grows. The next week, Marcus texted me, "Hey, can you call me when you have a minute?" I called him from my car after work. Marcus's voice sounded normal but slightly careful. "Rachel," he said, "I'm going to say something, and I don't want you to panic." I laughed nervously. "Okay." He said, "Adam is leaning on me a lot." I frowned, emotionally. "Yes," Marcus said. "It's not just talking, it's constant, late-night messages, calls." I asked, "Have you told him to stop?" Marcus hesitated. "I've tried to redirect. I don't want to blow up your marriage." That sentence made my throat tighten. Because Marcus was protecting my peace more than my husband was. I said, "Send me screenshots if you're comfortable." Marcus said, "I will, but I want you to know, I don't think this is about me being gay. I think it's about Adam needing an escape." Escape. That word landed like a stone. I thanked Marcus and ended the call. Then I sat there in my car for a minute, staring at the dashboard, thinking about how much I didn't know about my own home. That night, Adam came home late. He kissed my cheek, then sat down on the couch and said, "I had a long talk with Marcus." I said, What about? He smiled, relaxed. Just life. Just life. He used Marcus like a spa. I nodded slowly and said, okay. Then I did something I'd never done before. I asked, Adam, can I see your phone? Adam laughed. What? Why? I kept my voice calm. Because I asked. Adam's smile faded. He said, you don't trust me. I said, give me the phone. He stared at me, then stood up and said, no, that's controlling. Controlling. That word hit like an accusation. I didn't argue. I just said, okay. Then I walked into the bedroom and closed the door. Not to punish him. To think. If you were me, you might be thinking, what did she do next? Here's what I did. I stopped trying to win an argument. I started trying to confirm reality. I opened a folder on my phone called Receipts. And I decided I wasn't going to confront Adam again until I had proof, because I could already feel him preparing a narrative. That I was jealous. That I was paranoid. That I was controlling. And I wasn't going to let him rewrite me. At 1:07 a.m., Adam's phone lit up on the nightstand. He had left it face up. A message preview flashed across the screen. From Marcus. I can't be your escape. My stomach dropped. Because Marcus wasn't saying that to someone who was just friends. And I suddenly realized I wasn't watching a friendship. I was watching a line get crossed. In the morning, Adam acted normal. He made coffee. He asked about my day. He smiled like he hadn't refused to show me his phone. That's the thing about people who want control. They reset the room and hope you follow. I didn't follow. I texted Marcus. Can you come over tonight? I need to see everything. Marcus replied quickly. Yes. And Rachel, I'm sorry. I spent the whole day at work with my brain split in two. One half doing my job. The other half replaying that message preview. I can't be your escape. After work, I went home early and did something small, but important. I wrote down the date and time I saw the preview. I wrote down the exact words. Because memory gets questioned later. Paper doesn't. That night, Marcus came over. He didn't sit on the couch. He stood near the kitchen counter like he wanted distance between himself and the situation. I don't want to hurt you, he said. I replied calmly, I want the truth. Marcus opened his phone and showed me the thread. It wasn't romantic language at first. That's what made it dangerous. Adam started with constant emotional dumping. Text, 11:42 p.m. Do you ever feel like you married the wrong person? Text, 11:49 p.m. Rachel doesn't see me, you do. Text 12:08 a.m. You're the only person who makes me feel calm. Then it escalated. Text 1:03 a.m. Sometimes I think about you and I feel safe. Text 1:05 a.m. I wish I met you first. Marcus's replies were consistent. Adam, you need to talk to your wife. This is not appropriate. I care about you as a friend, but I'm not doing this. Then the line I saw. Text from Marcus, 1:07 a.m. I can't be your escape. I stared at the thread, then looked up at Marcus. How long? I asked. Marcus swallowed. Months. It got worse after his work thing. I nodded slowly. Because that matched the timing of Adam's mood change. If you were me, you might be thinking, okay, he's emotionally attached, but did anything physical happen? I asked Marcus the same thing. Marcus's eyes stayed steady. No, he said, and I would tell you if it did. I believed him. Because Marcus had every reason to lie if he wanted Adam. And he was doing the opposite. He was pushing Adam away. Then Marcus said something that made my stomach drop again. He asked me to meet him alone. Late. Not for coffee. For a drive. I stared. Did you go? No, Marcus said quickly. I said no. That's when he got angry. Marcus showed me the angry messages too. Text 12:33 a.m. You're just like her, cold. Text 12:35 a.m. You're pretending you're better than me. Text 12:38 a.m. Don't tell Rachel, she'll freak out. I leaned back and exhaled slowly. Because now, the pattern was clear. Adam wasn't confused. He was strategic. He wanted Marcus emotionally, and he wanted me as the stable base who paid bills and kept life normal. And when Marcus refused, Adam attacked him like he attacked me. Cold, controlling, intense. The same labels. Marcus said quietly, I didn't tell you because I hoped he'd stop, and because I didn't want you to hate me. I looked at him and said, "Calm. I don't hate you. I'm grateful you didn't hide it." Marcus nodded, eyes wet. Then he said, "Rachel, there's something else." He started asking about your insecurities. My throat tightened. What? Marcus scrolled to show me. Adam. What gets Rachel upset? Adam. Is she always like this? Adam. Does she have abandonment issues? He was building a profile. Not because he cared about me. Because he wanted tools. If you were me, what would you do next? I did not call Adam and scream. I did not throw his things in the hallway. I told Marcus calm, I need you to stop responding, not because you did something wrong, because he uses responses. Marcus nodded. I already did. Then I asked Marcus for one more thing. Can you forward me the screenshots, full thread, timestamps? Marcus said yes, and he sent them to me right there. I saved them in receipts. Then I asked Marcus to do something else, for his own protection. Message Adam once, clearly, that you don't consent to further contact, and keep it in writing. Marcus did. Text from Marcus, 8:42 p.m. Stop messaging me. This is not friendship. Do not contact me again. Adam replied immediately. Text, 8:43 p.m. Wow, she got to you. She got to you. Adam's favorite move. Turn boundaries into my fault. Marcus didn't respond. He left my apartment, and I sat alone at my kitchen table with my phone. I didn't cry yet. I felt numb. Then Adam came home. He walked in, hung his jacket, and said, Hey. I looked at him and said, Calm. We need to talk. Adam sighed. Can it wait? Work was brutal. I said, No. Adam's face tightened. What's this about? I didn't show him screenshots yet. I asked a simple question. Are you emotionally attached to Marcus? Adam laughed sharply. What? I held his gaze. Adam's laughter faded. Then he said, You're being ridiculous. I asked, Are you messaging him late at night? Adam's jaw clenched. He's my friend. I said, He told you to stop. Adam snapped. He told you that. I nodded. Yes. Adam's face changed quickly, like he realized the secret wasn't secret. Then he did what I knew he'd do. He attacked. You're jealous, he said. This is why I can't talk to you. You turn everything into drama. I kept my voice calm. I have screenshots, I said. Adam froze for half a second. Then he said, Marcus is manipulating you. He wants you to hate me. I stared. Marcus has been protecting you, I said. He's been rejecting you. Adam's face went red. He said, So what? Now I'm not allowed to have friends. I didn't argue in circles. I said one sentence. This isn't friendship. It's a betrayal. Adam looked at me and said, You're overreacting. I nodded slowly. Okay. Then, I did the one thing he didn't expect. I didn't keep debating. I said, I'm sleeping at my sister's tomorrow. We'll communicate in writing until we decide next steps. Adam's eyes widened. No, don't do that. I looked at him calmly. Watch me. That night, Adam slept on the couch and I slept in the bedroom. At 2:11 a.m., my phone buzzed. A message from Adam. I'm sorry, don't tell anyone. I was just stressed. I saved it. Receipts. Because stressed was his excuse. But patterns don't come from stress. Patterns come from character. When Marcus said Adam was outside his building, I felt something shift from hurt to urgency. Because Adam wasn't just embarrassed. He was trying to regain control. I called Marcus immediately. Marcus answered, voice low. He's in his car. He keeps texting. I asked, Are you safe? Yes, Marcus said, but I don't like this. I said, Calm. Do not go outside. Do not engage. Screenshot everything. If he doesn't leave, call building security. Marcus said, Okay. Then I did something else calm. I texted Adam. Do not go to Marcus's home. Leave, now. Adam replied instantly. Why are you controlling me? This is between me and him. You're making this ugly. I saved it. Then I called my sister Leah and told her I was coming over. Leah didn't ask questions. She said, Come. I packed a bag and left. Not dramatic, just clean. At Leah's, I sat on her couch and finally let myself feel it. Not the romantic betrayal part. The trust collapse part. Because I had trusted Adam with my best friend's place in my life. And I had trusted Marcus with my marriage's safety. Marcus deserved better than being used as Adam's escape. And I deserved better than being called jealous for noticing. That afternoon, Adam requested a meeting. Not in person at home, in a public place, like a coffee shop. I agreed. Because I wanted one thing: clarity. I also brought Leah, who sat at a separate table, not listening, just visible. Adam arrived looking tired, like he wanted sympathy. He sat down and said, "I'm sorry." I asked, calm, "For what?" Adam blinked. "For everything." I nodded slowly. "Be specific." Adam exhaled, irritated. "Okay. I'm sorry I leaned on Marcus." Leaned on. Still minimizing. I asked, "Did you have feelings for him?" Adam hesitated. Then he said, quietly, "I think I fell in love with him." There it was. A confession that sounded like honesty but felt like a weapon. Because he said it like it should excuse everything. If you were me, would you feel rage? I felt sadness first. Because love isn't an excuse to betray your spouse and pressure your spouse's best friend. I asked, "When did you realize?" Adam said, "Months ago." I asked, "And you didn't tell me, you just kept messaging him." Adam shrugged. "I didn't want to hurt you." I stared at him. "You hurt me anyway." Adam's face tightened. "You're making me the villain." I kept my voice steady. "You made choices. Choices have consequences." Then Adam said the sentence that revealed his real goal. "I want you to be mature about this," he said. "Marcus and I have a connection. You can't keep me from that." I blinked. "Marcus doesn't want you." Adam's jaw clenched. "He's scared. He's hiding it because he doesn't want to lose you." That was delusional. But it was also strategic. He was trying to turn my best friend into my competition. I didn't play. I said, calm. "Marcus has already told you no in writing. If you contact him again, we will take formal steps." Adam laughed sharply. "Formal steps? What, you're going to call the police because I have feelings?" I said, "No, because you're harassing him." Adam leaned back and said, "You're jealous." There it was again. Jealous is his reset button. I didn't argue. I said, "Here is what happens next. We separate. We get therapy individually. If you want to salvage anything, you start with accountability, not excuses." Adam's eyes widened. "You're leaving me because I had feelings." I said, "I'm leaving because you disrespected me and pressured my friend." Adam looked down, then up, and his voice got softer. "I don't know who I am," he said. "I feel like I've been pretending." That could have been the beginning of real honesty. But then he ruined it. He said, "If you tell people, they'll think I'm a monster." I stared at him. He wasn't worried about hurting me. He was worried about image. I said, calm, "I'm not interested in humiliating you. I'm interested in protecting myself." That night, Adam tried to contact Marcus again. Marcus sent me the screenshot. Text, 10:14 p.m. "Please, just talk to me. Rachel is poisoning you." Rachel is poisoning you. He was still trying to frame me as the obstacle. I forwarded it to my attorney friend, Miss Palmer, for advice on a simple no-contact letter, because at this point Adam's behavior crossed from messy to persistent. Miss Palmer said, "Have Marcus send one final written no-contact notice. If Adam continues, document it and consider a protective order." Protective order sounded dramatic, but documentation isn't drama. It's safety. Marcus sent the no-contact message. Then Adam did what I expected. He sent a message to a mutual friend group. A vague post about, "My wife is controlling who I can speak to, and my friend is being manipulated." People started messaging me. "What happened? Are you okay? Is Marcus okay?" I didn't respond publicly. I wrote one calm message to our closest mutuals. Adam crossed boundaries with Marcus repeatedly and refused to stop. Marcus asked for no contact. "Please don't mediate." Then I stopped. Because the goal wasn't to win social points. It was to stop the bleeding. 2 days later, Adam showed up at Leah's apartment building. Not inside, just outside. He texted me, "I'm downstairs, come talk." I replied, "No, email only." He wrote, "You're being cold." I replied, "I'm being safe." Then I called building security. He left. After that, Adam's tone changed, less confident, more desperate. He texted, "Please don't divorce me. I'll do therapy. I'll stop talking to Marcus." Stop talking to Marcus. Like Marcus was a habit, not a person. I didn't reply emotionally. I replied with structure. Therapy. Separate living. Communication in writing. That's the path. Adam agreed, then broke it again by sending Marcus another message 2 days later. That was the moment I understood. He wasn't in control of himself, and that made him unsafe to negotiate with informally. So I filed for separation. Not to punish him, to protect the future. Because if he could pressure my best friend and then blame me, he could pressure anyone. And I refused to build a life on that foundation. When Adam posted that I was homophobic, I felt 2 emotions at once. Rage, because it was a lie. Fear, because lies travel faster than nuance. I have been friends with Marcus for over a decade. My social circle includes plenty of LGBTQ friends. This wasn't about orientation. This was about boundaries, consent, and manipulation. But Adam's post wasn't meant to be accurate. It was meant to be simple. Simple stories go viral. Complex truth takes work. So I did not fight him online. I did the opposite. I stayed calm and gathered receipts that addressed the claim without debating identity. I asked Marcus, "Are you comfortable sharing your boundary messages if needed?" Marcus replied, "Yes. I'm not letting him paint you as hateful to save his ego." That line mattered. Because Marcus could have stayed silent to avoid drama. Instead, he chose truth. I also saved Adam's own language in the messages. The parts where he wrote things like, "You don't get to keep me from him. Rachel is poisoning you. Don't tell Rachel. If you tell people, I'll look bad." That was the real motive. Not identity. Control and image. Then I did one controlled response. Not a public thread. Not a long post. I texted 3 key people who I knew would spread the truth calmly if asked. My sister Leah, my friend Tori, who runs the friend group calendar, and Adam's cousin, who is very reasonable. I wrote, "Adam is claiming I'm homophobic. That's false. The issue is he repeatedly crossed boundaries with Marcus, pressured him, and refused to stop. I have screenshots of Marcus saying stop contacting me and Adam continuing. I'm not debating it online." Then I attached one screenshot only. "Marcus, stop messaging me. Do not contact me again. Adam, Rachel got to you." That screenshot did more than any argument, because it showed Adam's pattern clearly, without discussing orientation. If you were me, would you post everything? I didn't. Because posting everything invites debate. One clear receipt shuts down the loudest lie. Adam's cousin replied, "Understood, I'm sorry." Tori replied, "I'm with you, and Marcus." Leah replied, "Tell me what you need." Then Adam's mom called me. She didn't say hello. She said, "Is it true you're leaving him because he's confused?" Confused. That was the family-friendly word for, he crossed lines. I kept my tone calm. "I'm leaving because he pressured Marcus and then blamed me," I said. "This isn't about identity." Adam's mom sighed. "You're overreacting." I replied, "He showed up at Marcus's building. He kept messaging. He posted a lie about me. That's not overreaction. That's a pattern." Then she said something that made my stomach drop. "Well," she said, "at least it wasn't another woman. At least. Like betrayal has a scoreboard." I ended the call politely. Because I wasn't going to argue with a person who wanted to minimize to protect their son's image. Marcus and I met for coffee a week later. He looked exhausted. He said, "I feel guilty." I stared at him. "For what?" "For being the catalyst," he said. I shook my head. "You're not the catalyst. You're the mirror." Marcus nodded slowly. Then he said, "He didn't love me. He loved what I represented. Escape. Safety. A place where he could be needy and not be judged." That sentence made the whole thing sadder. Because Marcus was right. Adam didn't fall in love like a movie. He latched. Then he tried to make me the villain so he could avoid accountability. The legal separation process moved forward. Not dramatic. Paperwork. Emails. A schedule for who stays in the apartment. Adam wanted to talk in person. I refused. Because Adam was at his most manipulative in person. In writing, he couldn't rewrite. He sent an email. "I never meant to hurt you. I was just confused." I replied, calm. Confusion does not excuse coercion or harassment. Communication through email only. Adam replied, "You're cold." I didn't answer. Then, Adam did one last thing that almost worked. He sent me a voice memo crying. Not loud crying. Soft, regretful, human. For a moment, I almost softened. Then I remembered the text he sent Marcus at 10:14 p.m. "Rachel is poisoning you." He cried to me, then attacked me elsewhere. That's not remorse. That's strategy. So I stayed consistent. After a month, Adam's online posts stopped. Not because he became honest. Because people stopped engaging. Because the receipts existed, and the lie was too expensive to maintain. And that's how truth wins most of the time. Not by being louder. By being harder to refute. The final step was a mediated conversation about property and closure. Adam showed up looking tired, like he had been living inside his own story too long. He said quietly, "I didn't expect you to leave." I replied calmly, "You expected me to absorb it. That's different." Adam looked down. Then he said, "I'm going to therapy." I nodded. "Good." He said, "I didn't mean to drag Marcus into this." I said, "But you did." He swallowed. "I know." That was the closest thing to accountability I got. Not a grand apology. A small admission. And that was enough for me to stop waiting. Because I wasn't building a life on hope anymore. I was building it on boundaries. When Adam messaged Marcus from a new account, my first emotion wasn't fear. It was relief. Because it confirmed something that had been true the whole time. Adam wasn't accidentally crossing lines. He was intentionally pushing them. So we responded the only way you respond to intentional boundary pushing. We documented, then we closed access. Marcus did not reply. He saved it. I forwarded it to my attorney and asked about a formal no-contact notice, not to be dramatic, but to create a record. A record is a boundary with teeth. Adam received the notice through email. After that, he stopped. Not because he suddenly became respectful, because consequences were now possible. And then, slowly, my life became quiet again. I moved into a smaller apartment. I bought a new couch. I created a routine that didn't include waiting for someone to choose me. Marcus and I rebuilt our friendship in a way that felt healthier than before. We stopped apologizing for the discomfort. We stopped minimizing. We started telling the truth without shame. One night, Marcus said something that surprised me. He said, "I'm glad you didn't blame me." I stared at him. Why would I? Marcus shrugged. People do. They look for the simplest villain. That line stayed with me, because it's true. In messy situations, people want a simple villain. Adam tried to make me the villain by calling me homophobic. He tried to make Marcus the villain by calling him manipulative. He tried to make the situation a morality play. It wasn't. It was boundaries. Consent. Respect. Documentation. Consequences. Adam did continue therapy according to what I heard through mutuals. I didn't follow his journey closely because it wasn't my job to manage his growth. But I did hear one thing that sounded real. He eventually told someone, "I used people to avoid feeling empty." That sentence sounded closer to truth than anything he said during the breakup. And I hope he works on that. Not for me. For whoever he becomes next. As for me, I learned something that changed how I see loyalty. Loyalty isn't a grand speech. It's behavior under pressure. Marcus was loyal when he showed me receipts instead of hiding. I was loyal to myself when I stopped debating and started documenting. Now, you might be wondering about the title, I never saw it coming. I didn't. Because I believed that a gay best friend was automatically safe from romantic mess. I learned a painful lesson. Orientation doesn't prevent someone else from crossing boundaries. A person can still be used, pressured, and pulled into someone's emotional chaos regardless of who they're attracted to. That's why this story isn't about sexuality. It's about respect. I also learned how quickly people judge without context. When Adam posted his lie, some people believed it for a day or two. Then the receipts started circulating quietly, and the belief faded. Not because I screamed. Because I stayed consistent. I didn't try to punish Adam publicly. I didn't try to humiliate him. I corrected the lie with one screenshot to the right people, and I moved on. That's the part that felt like power. Not revenge. Freedom. Last update. About 6 months later, I was at a friend's birthday dinner. A normal dinner. No drama. Marcus leaned toward me and said, "Do you ever miss him?" I thought for a moment. "I miss the version I believed in," I said. "I don't miss the reality." Marcus nodded. "That's healthy." And it was. Because I stopped confusing potential with behavior. If someone's behavior crosses lines, you don't keep them because of the person you hoped they'd be. You choose the person you can trust. And that's the ending. My husband fell in love with my gay best friend and I never saw it coming. But once I saw it, I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't compete. I documented. I set boundaries. I protected my friend. And I protected myself. That's what changed everything. And that's the ending. Not loud, not dramatic, just documented and final. If you like calm, documentary-style stories with receipts and a real payoff, subscribe. I post long-form stories like this regularly, and the next story starts with "Nothing happened" and ends with a timestamp that proves otherwise.